Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So, just before the battle of Kurukshetra, so many different attempts were made to avoid the war. Very interesting, Gandhari speaks some nice words to her son. Who's her son? Duryodhana. After Krishna tried again to warn Duryodhana not to continue his animosity toward the Pandavas, all this made Dhritarashtra even more uncomfortable. From Duryodhana's very birth, his advisors had insisted that Dhritarashtra reject his son. Dhritarashtra had refused, but now he was tasting the bitter fruit of his mistaken judgment. He was too attached to Duryodhana, and that attachment had not weakened over the years. Duryodhana took advantage of his weakness and simply ignored his father. It seemed Duryodhana could be checked only if he were executed or at least imprisoned. Now Krishna was suggesting that the Kauravas do this. But how could Dhritarashtra even contemplate such an option? Then he thought of Gandhari. Maybe the prince would listen to his mother. Dhritarashtra decided to ask Gandhari to enter the assembly. Vidura, please go. Bring the queen here. Then order my son to return to the assembly. Perhaps the wise Gandhari will be able to persuade him. Vidura left the hall, and soon Gandhari entered, the maidservants leading the blindfolded queen to her place next to the king. After being seated and informed of the situation, she addressed Dhritarashtra. So now we will hear the words of a powerful woman. So she's speaking to Dhritarashtra. Your son is full of lust and greed, and only by your blessings has he obtained this kingdom, which he in no way deserves. O king, although you know he is sinful, still you support him out of fondness. For this, you are as much to blame for the present situation as he is. It will be very difficult now to check your son, Duryodhana. As Gandhari finished speaking, Duryodhana returned. So imagine now, Duryodhana is entering. He strode angrily across the hall, bowed slightly to his parents, and sat down. He was still breathing heavily, his eyes red. Gandhari spoke gently. My dear son, listen as I offer advice meant only for your benefit. It is my earnest wish that you make peace with the Pandavas. Follow your elders' guidance, my son, and reap the fruits of virtue. You want to control the earth only because you are full of sense desire and anger. But you do not know that only by overcoming these two impulses can a man attain success in life. So Gandhari is speaking very powerful information. So, you want to actually control the earth? You have to give up sense desire and anger, according to Gandhari. Only after conquering ourselves can we conquer the earth. Otherwise, it is not possible. The uncontrolled senses are powerful enough to kill a man, just as untrained horses can kill an incompetent driver. In the Vedas, the senses are compared to wild horses, and the only thing keeping those horses in check are the reins, and the reins is the mind. And who's holding on to the reins? Intelligence. And the soul is just sitting there as the passenger. Got to hold on to those reins by means of intelligence. Prosperity always attends the king who has mastered his passions and who stands ready to chastise offenders, acting only after careful consideration. One who gives in to desire and wrath will lose everything in the end. Such a man cannot even attain heaven. My son, strive to control your senses, for in this lies your greatest good. This is the same message Krishna speaks in Bhagavad Gita, that in order to be happy and peaceful, you have to control your mind and senses. If the mind and senses are out of control, then don't even think about happiness and peace. It's an impossible notion. First, you control your mind and senses. That's what it means to be peaceful. And once you're peaceful, then you can be happy. As Krishna says in Gita, how can there be any happiness without peace? And peace, just like I've told you the story many times, that lady in Panama, Swamiji, can you give me peace? So I asked her, do you eat meat? No. Do you drink? No. She said, yes. She ate meat, yes. And do you gamble? Yes. I said, 3 strikes, you're out. You cannot have peace. I don't have a magic wand. Have peace. Doesn't work that way. You have to become peaceful yourself. Gandhari spoke from her own realization. Since the Pandavas' exile, she had begun to practice asceticism, feeling guilty for the way the Kurus had insulted. Who did they insult? What woman? Draupadi. So see, that one incident was the turning point. Gandhari fasted and performed constant sacrifices. She practiced penance, praying that her licentious son may somehow be brought to his senses. But it seemed impossible. Duryodhana's heart was steeped in greed and envy, and he could not recognize these qualities in himself. Imploring, the queen continued, by joining with the virtuous and self-controlled Pandavas, you can enjoy this earth for a long time. What will you gain by fighting with them? Here is Krishna, who performs powerful acts with little exertion. He is able to destroy all the kings by himself. So Gandhari knew. She knew the power of Krishna. Just see. What then will happen when Krishna unites with Arjuna? You have heard this advice again and again. One who ignores well-wishers will only lament while his enemies rejoice. O child, your father gave the Pandavas their due share, being afraid of a dispute. Now you are enjoying the stolen fruits of that gift. it was those heroes who subjugated the world. Because when Maharaj Yudhisthira performed the Rajasuya sacrifice, that's what he had to do. He had to get all the kings to agree that, yes, you are the emperor. And he did that. And that's why they had to kill Jarasandha first before they could do. After that, everyone, yes, Yudhisthira, you are. And that Rajasuya sacrifice was also a turning point, because that's when Duryodhana became very much determined, I am going to get these Pandavas. Because he was humiliated. Surely, oh, listen to this. So Gandhari is saying, surely half the kingdom can satisfy your needs. Do not invite destruction by igniting a dispute with the Pandavas. They have suffered enough these last 13 years. Give them back what is theirs and save the world from disaster. When Bhishma, Drona, Kripa, Karna, Bhima, Dhananjay, and Drishtadyumna come together in anger, all creatures will be destroyed. And millions of people died in that battle of Kurukshetra. How many sons of Dhritarashtra remained? Zippo, not one. But how many Pandavas remained? All 5, but not their sons. Thanks to Ashvatthama's nonsense. With the help of Lord Shiva. That's another story. Therefore, quench your greed and act with wisdom. This is my advice to you, dear child. So Gandhari here, Guru. Everything Gandhari has said, according to morality, Shastra. Very good. Everybody chant the Maha Mantra.